Is it too late to avoid a depression? Policymakers are running out of time. Last week, the world's business, intellectual, government, and many other leaders emerged from the World Economic Forum meetings in Davos, Switzerland, with grim faces and warnings of impending financial doom. Are things really getting that bad? Credible economists now say there is supposedly still a narrow window of time in which policymakers in the United States, Asia, and Europe can avoid a meltdown by immediately coordinating the injection of real financial adrenaline to banks, companies, local governments, households. Not just empty rhetoric and indiscriminate spending. Some say that window is closing fast, and if the right steps are not taken soon, very soon, it may be shut for years. But here's the catch. Governments don't always know which steps work because economic theory breaks down at the level of human psychology. Given a set of stimuli ranging from tax cuts and longer unemployment benefits to new construction jobs and wider broadband access, economists try to mathematically determine the choices citizens possibly could make, then use the results to recommend a policy mix to legislators. The problem is that the models often fail to accurately forecast human behavior, and politicians mess it all up by ignoring the information or data and diverting precious resources or funds to pet projects. History is rife with successful financial episodes such as the New Deal. Slim hopes of an end zone dance to prove the Davos, Switzerland set wrong. In short, theoretically, congressional leaders must make the right choices at warp speed under pressure from special interests. It's a public policy version of the Pittsburgh Steelers' final drive Sunday, with time running out in the Super Bowl quickly. In times like these, the result set is stark and binary. Hero or goat in football, recovery or disaster in the economy. This is a worldwide economic crisis like never seen before. The case for a severe economic dislocation over the next year, or a potential depression, is easily made as 4 key ingredients are in place. The recipe calls for a blend of cyclic recession, severe deleveraging, a shift of demographics favoring savings over consumption, and inappropriate fiscal and monetary responses by policymakers or lawmakers. The first 3 are well underway. Looking back at the Great Depression of the 1930s and Japan's Depression of the 1990s, it's clear that government leaders in such cases failed to respond quickly enough, then overcorrected, and in general took steps at the time were considered the best economic practices, but actually worsened the problems, made everything worse. Our leaders will likewise now try to do the right thing based on currently popular theories, but you know how theories go. But we cannot confidently say whether they will turn out to be appropriate. You just never really know. They say measures must be taken immediately, and every day lost on such trivial details such as bank executives' pay or cabinet nominees' tax follies dampens the likelihood of success. Supposedly, speed is of the essence, like putting up sandbags to stop a levee break. As we can see in daily headlines, now that the darkness of Davos is descending, the incredible shrinking economies. Yes, again, this is a worldwide economic crisis like never seen before, and there's something bigger going on here. Layoff announcements over the past 3 months averaged 50,000 a week until they jumped to more than 100,000 last week. It is a deepening recession in an attempt to outrun revenue shortfalls. Businesses also cutting back on wages, travel, and equipment purchases. But it's a losing battle. The ISI Group economists figure that the U.S. corporate profits will decline from their 2007 peak to a 2010 trough by a record 30%, although a 50% fall is not out of the question. They're already down at least 20%. So then, the ripple effect sets in, rippling outward. Customers are disappearing as wages and jobs falter, and families raid their emergency funds. U.S. home equity decline has accelerated to a 30% annual rate. Well, at that rate, it won't be long, which combined with the stock market plunge has cut consumers' net worth by at least $12 trillion in a very short time. And the speed of the decline is breathtaking. The pervasiveness of the plunge in demand that animates doomsayers is breathtaking. Rents nationwide fell in 43% of buildings of all types in the fourth quarter, up from an average of 25% in the first 9 months of the year. In New York, where financial layoffs are surging, rents fell in 75% of apartment buildings last quarter. This puts securitized loans on U.S. commercial and apartment buildings on track for a default rate of 6% this year, up from just 1.1% at the end of 2008. We haven't seen this speed of decline before, ever, said one economist. In Asia, the momentum of deterioration, and thus the need for policy speed, is even more dramatic. Japan's industrial production is falling at a stunning 63% annual rate. South Korea is falling at a 43% rate. In China, real gross domestic production was unchanged in the fourth quarter. An ISI economist expect it to be unchanged in this quarter, which would smash the GDP growth down to just 4% over year. A huge, stunning come down for an economy that was growing at a better than 10% rate last year. But in contrast, government leaders appear to be moving in slow motion. The nation, the United States, may be on track now to spend $4 trillion minimum, more than anything short of war, to prevent the credit hole from getting so big we can't possibly climb out. And it's especially worrisome to see so much money used to shore up the worst managed banks. A misallocation of resources or funds that could haunt us for many decades. Once again, all these things are connected to the end times, transition days, and these are more signs.